To talk more about our terrible co-president, I am glad to be joined under not the best circumstances by Congressman Greg Casar. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on and for informing so many people about what's happening right now.
I appreciate that. Well, Elon Musk is more than happy to tweet about 1,500 times a day, I think it is now, about how proud he is of the work that is happening at Doge. While in the Doge subcommittee, you are calling him out for the actual truth that he is stealing from the American people and breaking our government. And because you're actually putting out the truth, he's too afraid to come before Congress. But if he actually did, if he put on his big boy pants, what would you want to say to Elon?
I would want to ask Elon Musk if he'd be willing to follow the basic anti corruption laws of the United States, the conflict of interest rules. Basically, if Elon Musk would be willing to give up the $8 million a day he gets in federal government money. I'm sick and tired of hearing him call people that survive because they're on Medicare or Medicaid. I'm sick of him calling them moochers. I'm sick of hearing him call people on food stamps moochers or Social Security. He calls it a Ponzi scheme. I think you can understand the entire Elon Musk scam with two numbers. One, the $8 million a day that Elon Musk gets in federal government contracts. And then two, $65 a day. Your average senior that's worked their entire life to earn their Social Security, $65 a day is what they get. Elon Musk, when he's looking to cut money, he isn't trying to cut his $8 million a day. He's coming after your parents' $65 a day. And I think that's all you need to know. He isn't trying to pick on big tech or on big pharma or God knows his own money. He's coming after your money.
Yeah, and it's important to use the language very specifically of what Elon's trying to do because he says that people are mooching when in fact it's him who is stealing. And not just that, but a new leaked report out of the White House shows that Elon's actual goal is to break Social Security. Doge has never been about cutting the fat. It's been about breaking the programs that either Elon doesn't benefit from or hold his companies accountable. And it's not just Social Security. We also see it at the FAA, where there is more corruption than we can even cover. How are you responding to what we're seeing from Elon in both of those agencies?
I think it's so important for the American people to know the truth because the ultimate check and balance in our government isn't just the courts, it isn't just the Congress, it is the people. And if the people knew that Elon Musk is installing and has installed at the FAA one of his own SpaceX engineers to try to put his Starlink technology into the FAA, people would really be outraged about this. And there's three big problems with that. First of all, it's not safe. Elon Musk technology does not go through the normal security checks that we have in government agencies. He just goes into places and says, buy stuff and break stuff. And you remember when he bought Twitter, how that started to crash. You don't want that to happen
Not worked
with our air
well.
traffic control system. Second, it's completely self dealing. There's billions of dollars in the communications system and how it's managed in the federal government. And usually there has to be an objective arm's length process for deciding who runs gigantic big government contracts. But Elon Musk is basically co-president right now, directing money to himself. And then third, and potentially most dangerously, it gives him so much power. It does not make sense to give this completely erratic man not just power over the White House, but power over whether American planes can fly or not. And so I think when you ask about what it is we can do, I think there needs to be a nationwide call to fire Elon Musk. I think that
Absolutely.
is a central organizing principle for our moment right now, where people can come together and say, fire Elon Musk, and that can bring people together that might disagree on this social issue or that social issue, but rural and urban, conservative, progressive, independent people can all agree that this erratic billionaire who hasn't been elected by anybody shouldn't be allowed to break the law, steal our money, and break our government.
I completely agree. And we have an election coming up in Wisconsin on April 1st that Elon is trying to buy a Supreme Court seat that is really firing up support for Susan Crawford, the liberal judge running, because people don't want Elon in control of anything else But we also have midterm elections that just feel like they're right around the corner. Of course, we want the national response from voters that we have seen from Republican town halls across the country. But what is your promise to people who are turning out and are just so sick and tired of Elon Musk? I think his approval rating is somehow even lower than Donald Trump's at this point. But what are Democrats going to do when they retake the majority? What are the levers of power that they are going to use once you are back in leadership to hold Elon Musk accountable? We just saw a judge say that his dismantling of USAID violated the Constitution. This guy's not just corrupt, he's breaking the law every single day. So what are the steps we take to hold him accountable that can get people fired up to turn out?
Yeah, Democrats cannot act powerless in this moment. And we have to make it really clear that we are against the oligarchs and the grifters and the corporations trying to buy our elections and buy our government, no matter who they are, no matter whether they are liberal or conservative leaning. It should not matter. This is a moment, I think, for the Democratic Party to have a clean break with the billionaire class. Right now, Elon Musk is abusing this little loophole in the law for quote unquote special government employees. Now, he's breaking the law so much that he's outside of that loophole, but supposedly there's this loophole for a charitable oligarch to be able to be in government and not have to follow all the anti-corruption laws. That loophole should be closed. It was a terrible idea from the first place, because it shouldn't matter if somebody is an oil baron or a big Wall Street hedge fund guy or an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. They shouldn't be allowed to break our laws, not follow anti-corruption rules, and determine so much about our lives. We should be going back to a place where we're respecting working people and putting them up front. I said from the very beginning, at Donald Trump's inauguration, when you saw him sit the three richest guys in the world at the front row, that shouldn't have been the three richest guys. We should have put one of the California firefighters fighting the wildfires up there. We should have put a parent from Uvalde who had one of their kids killed up in the front row. We should be putting people that are organizing union drives right now, auto workers in that front row. And I think the Democratic Party, as its promise, should say, look, sometimes the Democratic Party played footsie with these gigantic mega corporate interests in the past. We should actually transform ourselves right now into a party that's going to say, we're going to put working people first. We're going to not just make sure that you have the basics covered, but we want to make sure you actually earn a decent wage, that you can afford to live here, that your vote and your voice should matter a lot more than somebody who's trying to buy their third yacht. And I think that should be the Democratic Party platform right now against Elon Musk. And it should be our promise if we take the elections coming up here in November.
Yeah, we have to bring a lot more fight to the way that we message. And you brought up Donald Trump's inauguration and kind of the ornamental billionaires he had just sitting there as his playthings. And it kind of reminded me of his joint address to Congress, where he had a young kid who was an honorary Secret Service member who was battling brain cancer, and Donald Trump kind of used this person this kid as a prop while he is cutting pediatric cancer research. And there was a big conversation about should Democrats have clapped for this or not. But I think really what's at the heart of that is what we're also seeing with Donald Trump's completely unlawful deportation plan. He wants to pick these wedge issues and use them to get Democrats to be afraid to call out his completely unlawful actions. Now, how do we respond when Donald Trump takes an issue like mass deportations, which are unfortunately one of his more popular issues and something Democrats are afraid to talk about, and correctly message it about Donald Trump's unlawful actions without falling into the trap that Democrats always do of being afraid to address these issues? How do we make sure that we're communicating against this plan, which isn't just illegal, but just morally bankrupt and wrong?
Look, I think we need to call out Donald Trump's game very clearly. Donald Trump wants to have our entire conversation focused on the issues that he wants to talk about. He wants to make things up about immigrants. He wants to say immigrants are your problem. He wants to say that a trans person is your problem, rather than actually deal with the fact that it is these corporate oligarchs that are jacking up your costs. It isn't an undocumented immigrant that raised your rent. It's a Wall Street hedge fund that bought up your neighborhood and is jacking up your rent. It isn't a trans person that's screwing up the healthcare system. It's a gigantic health insurance company that is denying your insurance claims so that their CEO can go and get their 10th house. And I think Democrats should be willing and open to saying, look, people might disagree with us on some of these social issues. I personally am going to continue to stand to be somebody for equal rights, no matter where you were born or no matter who it is you love. But even if you might disagree a little bit on some of those issues, you're welcome to be a part of this party because at the end of the day, we're about making sure that you earn a decent wage at work, that your family can be better off in the generations to come than your parents were doing. And I, coming out of the labor movement, really saw how this works. I used to organize on construction sites where you'd have several hundred guys of different races and backgrounds. Trust me, they disagreed about a lot of stuff, but everybody was willing to come together for a raise. Everybody was willing to come together and say that the mega developer building the building could spare a little bit more change so that everybody could have decent benefits. And that brings people together in the workplace. And I think the Democratic Party could really learn something from that on that through the union movement about how we bring workers who may come from different places or have different backgrounds together in one party.
I completely agree that there are a lot of lessons that Democrats need to learn right now from how we organize, even within our own caucus in the House and the Senate, and how we have a message that equips us to respond to Donald Trump and the giant right wing media apparatus that makes it so difficult for Democrats to often get their message across. We saw a bit of a what I will call a fumbling of resistance to Donald Trump from Chuck Schumer. And I think that there are rightfully so a lot of calls questioning his leadership. You are the chair of the House Progressive Caucus. You have leadership experience yourself. What do you think needs to be the direction of Democratic leadership right now to actually fight back against Donald Trump?
Here's why Leader Schumer's decision was just so wrong. The biggest divide right now in the Democratic Party is between those that want us to roll over and play dead
Hmm.
and those that want to stand up and fight.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting words in somebody's mouth. I mean, there are Democratic pundits in the headlines of the New York Times right now using those words, saying Democrats should play dead. But I don't think we've gotten anywhere good in this country by playing dead. I'm proudly a member of the stand and fight wing of the Democratic Party. We need to inspire our voters by standing up and fighting. We need to have people believe that there is a better alternative in this country. And so I think that when House Democrats united and stood and fought, we had a real opportunity to inspire the country and show them that Elon Musk and Donald Trump's abuses don't have to be that way forever, that we could actually make a change. Many Senate Democrats stood with us, but unfortunately, about 10 Senate Democrats decided to try the play dead strategy. And that's just not going to work for us. We need more stand and fight Democrats.
No, I completely agree. We need to unite right now. We need to show that we have a direction, and that direction is standing up and acting in the same way that the American people feel, which is just pissed off. And I really appreciate you doing that. And you have had so many clips go so viral because you are showing the fight that we feel right now, and it is exactly what we need more of in Congress. And I appreciate you coming on the show to share some of that fight with us.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, courage inspires courage. So take action. It'll inspire your neighbors. Push your elected officials to take action. They just might step up to the plate and create that virtuous cycle. What I want your viewers at home to know is that Donald Trump and Elon Musk want you to feel powerless right now. They want that more than anything else. Because if you just give up or check out, then they have all the say and they have all the power. But you can actually make a difference. We were in similar moments in the 1920s where the ultra rich took hold of our government, corrupted it, crashed the economy, and caused the Great Depression. Same thing in 2007, 2008. These Wall Street banks and special interests crashed the economy. We can't let that happen again. And the only way we check their power is by being involved, pushing your elected officials of whatever party they are, hosting town halls, marching, calling. It makes a difference. So stay involved, keep pushing for the truth, and we can stop these guys.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Thanks so much.